Hi, folks. Welcome back to Kings of Opinion, episode 104. I got the big Wanderer here next to me. Say hello.
Glad to be here.
So, kind of a big weekend this weekend, huh?
Yeah. You had the Subway Series and the Knicks on Friday night to start it off. It wasn't the Knicks game wasn't really much of a game, but the desired result nonetheless.
Right, but that's kind of like, I feel like that's what everyone wanted to see on Friday. And I'm glad you said that. Like, it wasn't much of a game. In the beginning it was, but then they started to pull away. And I'm kind of glad for every Knicks fan that that's how it happened, because I don't know if I could have taken another game one or two where it's really close at the end and, either they lose or win. Like, it was good for me because I think, and I don't even know if this is possible, but for just me personally, like, the Knicks game got like overshadowed by the Subway Series in the Bronx, right?
Yeah.
And I know I'm a bigger baseball fan than basketball fan, and obviously if you're a bigger basketball fan, obviously that's not the case, right? But for me and a lot of our friends, like, that's the bigger game that everyone wants to see,
Mm-hmm.
So I had the hard time of sitting over here and literally flipping back and forth for a little bit, and then I put it on the good old iPad, and I just put it on the table here, and I was watching the Knicks, from the iPad, which was good enough, you know what I mean, and like, slowly paying attention. But you're right, the Knicks did what they had to do. Now they go on to the next round, and it's a rematch of pretty much last year.
Yeah, I got to be honest. One more thing on the Boston series. The previous game, like, if they, if they would have lost, which they did, okay, but for them to get blown out, like, I obviously I didn't watch the game. I went to bed probably at the half or earlier, but I was very surprised to see that result. That they weren't even, in it with down Tatum. I wasn't expecting that.
That's why I think we really needed what happened on Friday to happen on Friday, because you're
Just
right.
To get the confidence back.
Yeah, well, that, and like, every Knicks win up until that point was a pretty close win, too shockingly in Boston. And you're right, with no Tatum and how Boston came out, and yes, they lived and died by the three, so they were on fire that game. What was it, game 5?
Hitting them,
Yeah, they were nonstop hitting them, and they didn't even stop. Like, after they went up by 20, they're like, okay, we're gonna go up by 30. Then it was almost 40. I think they won by was it 36 or 38 points, something like that. So they blew them out. So you couldn't be any more worried coming into Friday at the Garden, and Boston had a little bit life left in them, right? But the Knicks did what they had to do. They took the life right out of them right away. Like, I didn't totally pay attention to the entire game, obviously, like I said, because of the Subway Series game. But I never once saw, like, them sweating it out or whatever. It's like
it seemed like they had a large margin at the half, and it only increased.
Correct, and like, they just didn't let up. I think they needed that embarrassing loss to, I guess, snap out of it a little bit. And now moving forward, listen, they're 4 wins away from the championship now.
Yeah.
The championship series. So, I don't know how it's gonna go. I know in the regular season, I think the Knicks beat the Pacers 2 out of 3 times.
Okay.
Which is good, but this is the playoffs, dude. Like, those guys want to go make it to the finals just as bad as they do.
Yeah, and this is a team that maybe they overlooked last year.
Yeah, last year was bad because they were.
There's a 3-1 or something.
Yeah, I think they only won 1 game, right? Or maybe it was 2. But either which way, they were the favorites last year and lost. Wait, did they lose? No, they lost at 7, I think. Yeah.
Right.
But either which way, they were the favorites last year and they lost. So, like, it's a little bit of payback. And the last time they were in the Eastern Conference Finals was back in 2000, I believe. And who knocked them out in 2000? The Pacers. So there's a lot of history here. Obviously, we know the Reggie Miller stuff and all that nonsense.
Can't forget that, yeah.
Can't forget all that. However, there's some recent history too. Like you just said, last year they lost to them when they shouldn't have lost. So maybe it's a little bit of payback. Like I, obviously, like I said, I haven't heard enough about this upcoming series yet. I'm intrigued about it, but like everything I've been listening to today is all about the Mets and Soto, and we'll get into that in a few moments. But I know the game starts on Wednesday. I think it's a 7:00 start at the Garden. It's gonna be crazy there. Like I don't even know how crazy it could be. It could go if they win on Wednesday. That 7th Avenue is going to be wild. Have you seen any of those videos?
I saw drone footage from, I guess, at some point after the last one, and it's just a wall of people. It's like there's no space anywhere.
There were police everywhere, just making sure they didn't get out of hand. And thankfully they didn't. It was just a lot of cheering and a lot of good times, which...
Maybe a bit of climbing.
Yeah, there was some climbing. But for the most part, I didn't hear anyone got hurt or anything. There was no reports of anyone doing anything dumb, which is actually really good. Like, I don't mind if you guys want to go crazy because, listen, truth be told, when some of our New York teams that haven't won in a while win, this should happen.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It's been a few years, yeah.
Yeah, so like I would expect that for the Mets as well, the Jets, like even the Nets, even though like their season's done and gone or whatever. But from years to come, like I would expect that. You know what I mean? Like it's good to see that we have fans that root really hard or are passionate about the team. So I was looking at a lot of these videos and I'm laughing. These guys are going nuts, and thankfully the NYPD let them rock out, which was great. Let them do that. Let them have their fun, cheering. They went away without any issues, and it was quick. It was like after the game. I think the game ended around like 10:30. I want to say they hung out till midnight, and then everyone was gone. So everything worked out for them in this series. Let's hope moving forward, they beat the balls off the Pacers, and they keep this hot streak going, and we'll have a little bit more of Knicks. Playoff basketball for another couple weeks because I would like to see that.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to the next series. Hopefully they can get it done, and yeah, it's been fun to watch.
Yeah, I mean it's a shame the way they're setting it up. Unless they get 2 days off, it's going to be Wednesday the first game and then Friday is the second game.
Okay.
I would think because they're both in New York, so.
Right.
Then they get 2 days off, so we don't get a weekend really Knicks game. I mean, you get the Friday night game, but you don't get like the Saturday afternoon.
Yeah.
So you could just dial in and watch it and have a good time. But I guess it's okay. It's Memorial Day weekend coming up, so there's gonna be a lot of barbecues on the shore and a lot of other things going on.
Good point, yeah.
So that I guess that could be all right. But yeah, I wish those guys the best of luck, and I can't wait to see what they're going to do in this next series. And then you got the Thunder and the Timberwolves, right?
Yeah.
On the other side, on the West.
Yep.
And what's so funny about that is you got 3 Knicks playing in that playoff series as well. You got, the guy in OKC.
Hartenstein.
Yeah, I always forget his name, Hartenstein. And then you got Randall and DiVincenzo
That's right.
on the Timberwolves. So
Well represented.
yeah, I think it's kind of wild, don't you think?
The guys left in the playoffs. Yeah.
Like if the Knicks make it to the finals, they'll be going against former teammates one way or another.
Right.
Which is kind of cool.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't even think of that.
Yeah. So we'll see if in about 2 weeks if that happens. I don't expect these series to be quick. I say they both go at least 6. One of these ones is going to go 7. I just hope it's not the Knicks one because I don't want to go through a game 7. At least not yet.
Right.
I'll take a game 7 in the finals. No big deal. But
Yeah.
I'd like to get it done in 6, possibly 5 if we get lucky enough. But I think it's going to be a tough series. So I'm picking them both to be 6 or better.
Okay.
If I had to land on it, I say the Thunder Timberwolves will be 7. Knicks in 6.
All right.
I don't know who I would pick on the West. For me, it's like a coin flip because they're both playing really good. And I don't really care who comes out of it. So whatever. I don't know if you have any picks, but those are my picks.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and pick the Knicks. hopefully, they can advance this year. I know that Indiana is a very good team, but the Knicks have done something special. Coming back from 20 point deficits, never been done before, so they got that going for them.
Unbelievable.
Hopefully, the magic continues. On the other side, I'm not really sure. Both very good teams. I'm just gonna pick OKC. I'm gonna say that they play better team basketball. Right. They don't rely on just maybe two guys. So I think that they'll get it done, and then that'll be your NBA Finals.
There you go. I like it. Now, moving along to what I've been waiting all weekend to talk about is the return of Juan Soto to the Bronx and the Yankees and Mets Subway Series.
Too many Bronx cheers.
Right. I'm actually thankful that the Yankees at least won the series, but more importantly, won a game, unlike last year against the Mets.
Right. It was 4-0?
Yeah, it was 4-0 last year. So when they won the first game, I was very happy. So in the first game, I thought this was really funny. I don't know if you got to watch any of the first game.
I watched a bit of it early.
Right. Did you happen to see all the fans turn their backs to Juan Soto in right field?
No, but I did. I read about it.
Yeah. So that was the whole Tiki Barber thing, and I missed him talking about it today. I'm sure he talked about it, and I wanted to catch it, but I think it was one of those. They started it right at the beginning of their show, and I missed it.
Right, yeah, I mean that's probably the lead the game. Right?
Yeah, I would have. I mean,
the series.
It could be the Knicks when they started off, but I'm assuming he's been literally talking about this for like 6 months, and when the broadcast they zoomed in on it during the game, I was dying laughing. You still heard some boos. You also heard some cheers. And even Juan Soto at his first at bat, tipped his helmet to everybody. So I thought that was kind of funny as well.
I saw a kid with a Soto Sucks t-shirt last night. A little kid in the outfield.
Yeah. There was, I feel like all weekend there were signs of all these different Sotos, Sucks, and whatever. But listen, that's sports, right? People are going to get upset. I was talking with Shady about this yesterday. We were watching the game at Brewhouse for a little bit, and yesterday's game was first off, I think either team could have won all three of these games. Obviously, the Yankees won 2 out of the 3, and they should have obviously swept the Mets, because that second game, to be fair, the Mets deserved to win. They pushed that last run in on a sacrifice fly. But both teams in game 2 had multiple opportunities to score.
It was tight. It was very tight.
Yeah, and the pitching in that game was amazing by both teams, starters and relievers. They did a great job of pitching through, for the most part. I know the Mets lost 2 games and they gave up a couple home runs here and there. But that aside, both greatly pitched all 3 games. And it was tight till late in these games. Besides the first game, because I think the first game, I'm drawing a blank, but I'm pretty sure it didn't open up a little bit to the 4th or 5th inning. I don't, if I remember correctly. But the second game was tight. And the third game was tight into the 8th. And then that's when, I don't know if you got to see it, but
no, I think it was 2-1 when I went to bed.
Okay, so long story short, watching the game, and Pete Alonso gets a ground ball. It's bases loaded with 2 outs, or 1 out. I'm sorry, because he went home. He catches the ball cleanly, and he throws it to home. But you could see the minute it left his hand that it was just sailing. It was almost 10 feet up the third baseline. The catcher had no chance of getting it. And then we scored, and then we wound up scoring again right after that, and it wound up making it 4-2. And then the floodgates opened. I think we loaded the bases again. And and then Cody Bellinger hit the grand slam.
I see. It did. I was gonna say it did seem like he was a little shaky in the field this weekend.
Yeah.
He made a couple. He made some plays, but there was also I feel like there was also a few moments where, you know, obviously that
for sure
that
was the biggest one. Yeah.
But there was also another one where he could have stepped off the bag just to save the ball, but he didn't.
Right.
And then that lets another run score.
Yeah.
Just a couple of things, and obviously in the past it's come up.
Yeah, and it's a shame too. Speaking about Alonso too, like he gets dogged a lot for his defense. And listen, I don't watch all 162 games of him, but when I do watch him, like he makes a lot of solid plays. Like he's a solid, maybe slightly above average first baseman, but they make him look or act out to be someone that's like really below first baseman and only have him on the field because of his power. But I think he's much better than that, in my opinion. And it's a shame that these things happen to him. I think one of the plays, and I don't remember what game it was. It might have been the first game of the series, because I was looking it over, and I was actually wrong. The Yankees scored 4 runs in the third inning, and then another 2 in the fourth. So they were up 6-1 most of the game. So I guess that game was the one game where the Yankees had, no, I don't want to say a no doubter, but they were leading big early, comfortable lead, and they finished it off. But I think that game there was I think it was a Paul Goldschmidt grounder up the middle, and Lindor grabbed it and threw it in the dirt to first, and Pete Alonso tried to scoop it, and he got it in the glove, but when he swung his arm, the ball flies out and goes.
He had no idea where it was.
Yeah, I think it went out to the outfield a little bit. So Paul Goldschmidt takes second. I think we scored a run on that. I think that might have been that third inning in game 1. But then again, that's a play I don't fault him on. He's a first baseman. He's got to come up with that ball. He doesn't. A really good first baseman, 9 times out of 10 gets that. An average first baseman might be 5 out of 10. He's somewhere in the middle. As much as you could blame Pete for that, you could also blame Lindor, because you could almost see that he beat it out anyway. There was really no play. So if he eats it, a run doesn't score, the guy stays at first, you have the double play opportunity for the next batter.
Right.
I don't remember what the next batter did. I think it's kind of irrelevant, but even if you got a base hit, like you would have been in a different position. So if you're going to blame Pete, you also got to blame Lindor, and that's only how I feel about it. You know what I mean?
No, I get it.
But, as far as everything went for me, besides the second game, obviously they won the other 2, this was a well-fought series. Today, all I was hearing about is Soto not hustling in the last game. Like he did some kind of check swing and barely ran down the first. It was kind of like a Gleyber Torres move. He's slumping. Listen, baseball is one of those things, and I've always said this to people, where you're successful 30% of the time, and you do it all the time like that, like you're 30% a 300 hitter, whatever, you're going to be a Hall of Famer. But that means you're failing 70% of the time. Now, his numbers weren't great. He did walk 5 times. He didn't score. He didn't have any RBIs, and he went 1 for 10 in the series. It's going to happen. Is he having a bad first couple months? Yes. Has he been doing a little bit better recently? Up until this series, yeah. He went on a little bit of a tear where it was more Soto-like, where he hit 2 home runs in 2 different games, and he's getting his power numbers up and his RBIs up. But, you sign this guy long-term. Let this guy settle in. I know it's just only across another borough, but, he was a Yankee, now he's a Met. So he's going to take time to get adjusted to the ballparks. I heard guys talking about as long as he gets his 3 or 4 home runs a week, he's good. Now listen, let's keep something in perspective. If he's hitting 3 or 4 home runs a week, that's a monster year. Yeah. That's 66 home runs in a year.
Yeah.
He's not that type of hitter, right? What you're looking at him is a 420 or better on base percentage.
Right.
Get his base hits in the gap or whatever. A home. I'd be happy signing up with between 6 and 8 home runs a month. Get him to that 30-something area. That's kind of where he settles in besides last year. I know last year he had 41, I believe, with the Yankees. But once again, like people always like to say, that's, the short porch and right for...
Right, perfect for him, yeah.
Correct, which is why Cody Bellinger has 7 home runs right now. You know what I mean? He hit 2 of those very exact home runs, which is part of the reason why I think the Yankees were smart enough to, when they lost Soto, pivot to another lefty.
Grisham has 6, right?
No, Grisham has 12.
Oh, 12. Sorry.
Yes, no. He might have had 6 this month.
Yeah.
But he's another prime example. He's another lefty. So what they did and what we made comments about in years past is they didn't get those lefty hitters in that lineup. There were 2 right-handed in the Yankee Stadium lineup where they play half their games in a ballpark that has a short porch and right. So now they changed it. Obviously, they wanted to make up for it. They got Goldschmidt, they got Cody, and they still had Grisham from last year. And Grisham, don't get me wrong, he's having like almost he's only behind Aaron Judge with 3 home runs. He's having like an Aaron Judge type of a year right now, which is great for him. Happy for him. I don't think that's going to last the whole year, but it's good right now if he could just keep it up a little bit. You know what I mean? And I think the Yankees will be fine on that front. Right now, the AL East is the worst division in baseball because everyone else sucks with the Yankees. They're all under 500. So I'm not saying I have to worry right now about the division.
Right.
Or the rest of the year. I don't worry about that kind of stuff till September anyway. But the Yankees are sitting fine. And even with the Mets' 2 losses, they're still sitting okay too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like it's obviously disappointing that they weren't they don't come away with the series, but still in first place. So hopefully they can keep playing well, and I would probably like to see them do a little better. Put up a few more runs.
Yeah.
But hopefully they can start doing that now.
Yeah, I mean, listen, well-pitched games all the way around. What I would like to say is that the Mets only scored 7 runs in this series.
Yeah,
and
not a lot.
Not a lot, no. I mean, it's hard to say the Yankees didn't score a lot. I mean, when you have 6 runs and 8 runs in 2 games, but, it's kind of all on 2 swings, really, some of those runs, which, don't get me wrong, I'll take that every time.
Right.
But for the Mets, what I did like to see is they played a lot of small ball to manufacture runs. Like they had a couple sacrifice flies. They had a wild pitch in yesterday's game that tied up the game 2-2. I think there was like a force out to score a run too. So 4 out of those 7 runs were manufactured playing small ball, which is good. It's kind of what I like about the Mets that I don't see in the Yankees, which I'd like to see more, because I see a lot of the young Yankee hitters, more specifically Wells, Volpe, and Dominguez. They all get up there, and I'm looking at them. This last whole week, I was watching every game, and even when they're on the West Coast. So I have like a sample size of 10 games where I watch start to finish, right? Because a lot of times I can't catch all of the game, but I'm watching these guys hit, and first off, they get into these weird counts where it's like either 0-2, 1-2. It's going to happen when you face good pitching. I understand that. But even when you're facing like mediocre pitching, their swings are so long and it drags them through the zone. It takes so long. Like, you're not going to hit the ball at all with those kind of swings, especially on a 0-2 and 1-2 count. You should, and this is why I always like guys like Goldie and even Rizzo for the last couple of years or most of his career. They would choke up on the bat and shorten their swing just to make contact. Because if you make contact, you pressure these fielders to make decisions, especially with guys on base. Look what happened to Alonso. Right. He should make that play every single time, especially if he didn't rush. Like, to me, he rushed it because the guy on third was fast. But the ball will get there faster than anyone ever running. There's not a guy fast enough that'll beat the ball, and it's a force out play. Right. Like, if he just throws it right to home, he's gonna nail him. You know what I mean? And you know, that's one aspect of it, right? You're putting the ball in play, you're making people make mistakes or not, and kudos to them if they make a good play. By striking out, that does nobody anything.
No.
And there was in the second game of the Yankee Mets game, the one where we lost.
Right.
It was first and second, no out. And the two guys that got on were the 7 and 8 hitters for the Yankees. And I think it was like the bottom of the fourth or something like that. And the number 9 hitter, Vivas, he's just brought up like 2 weeks ago from the minors. And he's supposed to be a contact hitter and this and whatever spiel they tell you on the TV, whatever nonsense, right? I'm like, okay. And I've seen him play. He seems like a pretty much contact hitter. But to me, that guy is bunting. It's no out. You have 7, 8, 9. You got 2 out of the first 3 guys on.
Right.
Sacrifice the 9 hitter because then you turn the lineup over to Grisham, Judge, Bellinger, and all that, and you could get a run in because there'll be 1 out, second and third, or at least first and third. What does he do? Swings at the first pitch in the dirt. Swings at the second pitch inside. Strikes out. And I'm like, there's a wasted out now. Now there's no way to score a run unless you get a base hit. And what does the next guy do? Flies out to left field. Like deep left field. Deep, like not warning track, but deep enough where the guy on second, who I think was Dominguez or Volpe, I can't remember who, would have been on third, would have scored easily. And we would have tied the game up at 2. And we didn't. It stayed 2-1. And then an inning or 2 later, that's when Bellinger hits the solo home run. But the Mets did the same thing in that game and in a couple of these games. I don't understand why it's almost like, we'll get back onto the Knicks. Who's the guy? Mitchell Robinson. Mm-hmm. The guy can't hit a free throw if you pointed a gun to his head, right? And I was happy for him. That was the only bright spot in that game 5 where I think he went like
6
for 6. Yeah, something like that from the free throw line, which fantastic. You couldn't have bet that in the game, right? Same thing with this bunting thing. Like you take batting practice every day, even if it's an off day. They're probably working out at the stadium or whatever, wherever they are. You can't do that in the cage. Like you take 10 swings. Maybe 1 or 2 of them is like a bunt down third baseline. I used to practice that in high school, and you used to get 10 swings. That's why I said 10. And out of the 10 swings, your last one would be a bunt. And if you popped up the bunt on your last one, you'd get another chance. But if you popped it up, you'd have to run a lap around the track after practice. And other things too that I can't really recall right now, but that was one of the things that was stuck in my head. So you made sure, and here's the problem: if you popped it up the first time, you get a second chance. If you popped it up the second time, you get a third chance. So if you wind up keep popping it up, and you're not learning, you're running laps, so you wind up running a couple miles eventually because you don't know how to bunt. Right. I'm not saying you do that at the major league level because these guys aren't going to do that kind of stuff. Like they're going to be like, they may be prima donnas or not or whatever, but there's got to be something you can do to get, some of these like guys that aren't Aaron Judge basically, or these guys that are the power guys, to know exactly how to bunt when you need to bunt.
Hitting.
Yeah, not even situational hitting, just situational baseball in general. Like just know how to bunt, my man. Like the guys. It's not like the guy's hitting 300. You're like, he's got a hot bat. The guy's hitting 179. He's probably not even hitting his weight. I'm sorry, but you should be bunting. And set it up for the next guy who's a leadoff hitter, who, if it was Grisham, because I know the Yankees flop leadoff hitters all the time, Grisham's hitting at least 280, and he's got 12 home runs, and he's a professional hitter. He's been in the league a bunch of years. He should be able to hit a fly ball. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what your thought on it is, but
I get what you're saying.
But to me, that's the one thing that drives me nuts watching these baseball games. And it was across the boards. I'm sure it's not just the Yankees or the Mets. I'm not picking on either one of them. I'm sure it's all across baseball. I get it. Unfortunately, I don't have time to watch every single baseball game every day. But it's just a pet peeve of mine. Like, there's certain guys that should know how to bunt, know how to hit the ball the other way. I miss the days of Tony Gwynn and Wade Boggs where he could just get up to the plate and be like, oh, you need me to hit it down the third baseline? No problem. Bing! You know what I mean? Like, just slap at it, and just make people make mistakes. Or, they don't make mistakes. You know what I mean? Like, it is what it is. As long as you make contact, you know, I'm okay with it.
Right.
Unless they make you look silly and you're swinging something like in the dirt and it's a soft ground ball to a pitcher or something like that. That's a whole nother story. But if they're pitching and you're swinging at good pitches and the guys are just either catching it or making good plays on it, I'll never say a bad thing about it. But, you know, some of these things these guys swing at, and I get it, like, you got all these new pitches now, the sweeper, the ghost fork, and this and that. Like, there was a guy not too long ago I think it was Seth Lugo. He has got 10 different pitches he could pitch. Meanwhile, like, it's really just a slider that he just has like 4 different grips for. So, you know what I mean? Like, so, you know, and even David Cohn said, he's like, I don't know about all these pitches, but they're all variations of this, of a you know, a slider or a curveball, but whatever. Guys just do whatever they want, I guess, to make themselves either more marketable or be more fancy. I don't know, nor do I care. But yeah, that's, I guess, me wrapping up the weekend in a bow with the baseball, or at least the Mets and the Yankees. Funny thing, the Twins, right? Mm-hmm. They had a 13-game win streak snapped yesterday. They started off under 500 and are now 6 games over 500. So the Central is getting kind of a little crazy right now. I mean, the Tigers have a nice little 5-game lead, just like the Yankees do in the division. They have the best record in baseball, the Tigers. But 4 out of the 5 teams in the Central, and this is what I told you going back to when baseball first started.
The Tigers are in first, right?
Yeah. They have the best record in baseball right now. I think it's by like a game or so. I just want to check the Dodgers to make sure. Yeah.
Picking up where they left off, I guess.
Yep, 100%. But 4 of those teams, Tigers, Twins, Guardians, and Royals, all over 500. And the Twins, Guardians, and Royals are all, like, they're basically tied for second place. The Twins has a half-game lead on the other 2, but it's literally only by 1 extra win, or one less loss, because each of the other 2 teams is a little different. But that Central's crazy, dude.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, there was a lot of stuff going on this weekend. The Dodgers got swept by the Angels.
They play the Mets next weekend.
Yeah.
This weekend.
Oh, the Dodgers do? Yeah. Oof, that's going to be tough. Well, the Mets play the Red Sox today, don't they? I think.
Oh, is that right?
It might be. I'm not 100% sure, but I will let you know in 2 seconds. Yeah. They play today at, I guess it's 6:45. They play in Boston.
In Boston.
Yeah. So they're on the road still. And then I guess they get a day off on Thursday. And then they go to L.A.
I think.
Well, LA comes here?
I believe so.
That makes sense. That makes sense. That'd be kind of a long trip for them. But either which way, the Mets have been playing 500 baseball for like the last week or so. So hopefully they pick it up. I mean, Boston is Boston. The Mets should be able to win 2 out of 3 there. To me, and I'm surprised, but you know, Boston isn't as good as I thought they were going to be. They're 2 games under 500, like everybody else in our division. Oh, you see what's going on with the Orioles, by the way?
No. Free fall. Or?
Yeah, they haven't won a game in. They're on a 6-game losing streak.
Wow.
They just fired their manager. I forget his name, something Hyde or something like that. They have an interim head coach. I think is one of the bench coaches. They're 15-30 right now. Wow. So yeah, they're pretty bad. They're one of the worst teams in baseball. But besides them, you got the Rays at 21-25. You got the Blue Jays 22-24, and the Red Sox at 23-25. So I don't know if these guys are just beating up on each other, but they just keep, win one, lose one, win one, lose one, win one, lose one. And thankfully for the Yankees, like the Yankees are just doing what they're doing, and hopefully they can just keep winning. I forget who they play next. The Texas Rangers. So I don't know who's pitching for them tomorrow. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's Corbin is pitching for the Texas tomorrow. But then Wednesday we go up against DeGrom, and then Thursday we go off of Aldi. who used to be a Yankee.
Yeah.
So those 3 games are going to be tough for the Yankees, and the Yankees are at home. So it's gonna be a tough 3 games with the Rangers. I'll tell you that right now. We don't really have much of they have the edge in starting pitching this week against us because the Mets just saw our best pitcher, Fried. He pitched well, obviously.
Yeah, he did. He's been having a great year.
Yeah, and that, to be fair, the Mets lineup is not an easy lineup to navigate through. And you could tell, he wanted to try and go to 7 innings, but he can only make it to 6 because his pitch count was up. But he was extra careful, with, the Alonsos, the Lindors, and the Sotos, because they were all getting into 3-2 counts the whole day.
Alonso may or may not have had a homer on a different day.
Right. Oh, you saw that?
The Statcast.
Oh, dude.
Wind.
The wind definitely. Because off the bat, it looked like it was gone in that first inning. And then all of a sudden, you see him settling under it. And I'm like, and it was barely on the warning track, too, which means the warning track's a good 10, 15 feet. So that wind, and it was windy yesterday, don't get me wrong. That wind must have kept that in that ballpark, dude. I'll tell you what. Because you're right. When I saw that, I was like, oh, crap. And then I was like, what? That might have changed the entire game right there.
Yeah.
Nuts.
Just the height alone, I thought it was out.
It was too high. It was just too high. Like in Major League. He's like, what do you mean it's too high? So, oh, it's too high. But yeah. That's it. Our 13-run pool is still going, dude. I can't believe how this is taking a while. Last year, the first round went like this. It was not even 30 games.
How many teams need one number?
I think now it's 4.
Okay.
But then there's 11 teams that need 2.
Oh, wow.
So
It's getting interesting.
yeah, it's definitely getting interesting. Eventually, some of those ones that need 2 are going to wind up being 1.
Right.
I just don't know how much longer this is going to go, but this is crazy. I just wanted to touch on that because I think we're at 44 games now.
Wow.
So it's been a while.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that goes. What you been up to TV wise? Watching any good stuff?
I'm not a whole lot. I think I'm still just watching Righteous Gemstones. What else? Last of Us and Mobland, but I didn't watch the new episodes yet of Mobland and Last of Us.
You gotta let me know when both those shows have 8 episodes on tap.
Okay.
So that I can start
Mobland's
watching
pretty
it.
close.
I think that's a little ahead of Last of Us, right?
Yeah.
You gotta let me know because I will not start those until there's at least 8 to 9.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Because I think there are only 10 episodes in the season. But yeah, I want to just make sure that if I get it all done in a week, when the last episode comes on, it's only a couple days away, kind of thing. But yeah, I've been watching a lot of different movies that have been in the theaters of for the most part of late. And for whatever reason, late at night, if I can't sleep, I've been watching the reruns of they're not reruns, but I've been putting on Ted Lasso a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, so I started that over again just so I'll get half hour, kill an episode.
It's good to have a half-hour show that you can just throw on for a minute.
Yeah, 100%. So, I'm also watching. You ever watch the show on Prime called Bosch?
No, but I know what it is.
Yeah. So
It's good.
Yeah, I'm watching the last season because I forgot it came out in March. It's called Bosch Legacy. It's good. I'm getting tired of him talking with his head angled all the time like this. I don't understand how people talk to people like this. I don't know. But other than that, yeah, it's a regular cop show. It's not bad. It's something to just watch. I finished the season of You. The last season of You is season 5.
Yeah. Did you like that show?
I liked it at the beginning.
Okay.
Then I just watched it just to finish it up because once I get into something, I want to see kind of how it ends. And because this was the last season, I was like, I'll give it a go.
Yeah.
And the last season, we could have done without it. But like at least they put a bow on it, and you know, spoiler alert, the guy went to jail. Nothing crazy happened. You know, there's stuff throughout the season that happened that was a little crazy, but you just knew that guy was just gonna go down unless he committed like some kind of murder suicide. Like he was just gonna go to jail, and that would have been the end of the show, which is basically what happened. And you know,
now that was the last. It's done.
that's it. No more you. It's on Netflix. That's it. It's over. 5 seasons. It's wrapped up. So that was good. Then I watched a couple movies.
You said some new movies, right?
Yeah. Well, one was on Netflix. It's called Nonnas with Vince Vaughn.
What's that?
It's basically about, you know, Vince Vaughn is like an MTA mechanic, like for the buses or whatever, and his mother passes away, leaves him a bunch of money. And he's just like going through life, whatever, and he winds up opening up a Italian restaurant in Staten Island, or Little Italy, Staten Italy, and the whole, I don't want to call it a gimmick, but what he wanted to do is he wanted to get nonna is Italian for grandmother,
Right.
so he gets 4 grandmothers, Italian grandmothers, to cook their like family recipes at this restaurant. And the whole movie is about getting the restaurant up and going. It's actually if you're Italian, you have to see this movie, whether you're Sicilian or regular Italian, because they got both in it. But it's a true story.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and you find out at the very end, you know how normally they show clips?
Yeah.
They show clips of the actual restaurant, and it's still open in Staten Island, and you could go there and have dinner, which I think I'm gonna plan to do one of these days this summer. To, you know, maybe on the way back from Jersey when I go see my friends, or even maybe on the way there, stop off in, you know, Staten Island and go to this restaurant and see what it's all about. The nonnas are still cooking there. It's kind of wild. So I want to check this out, and if I do go eventually, I will report back. You know how it was, obviously.
Cool.
Yeah, so that was good. I saw Novacaine on Paramount Plus, which just I guess came out of the theaters.
What's that?
It's about a kid that has a you know the kid from The Boys, that's Dennis Quaid's son.
Yeah.
He's the star of the movie.
Dennis Quaid.
Yeah, his son. That the guy from Boys, that's Dennis Quaid's son.
Oh, I thought you meant I thought you meant like Dennis Quaid was on the
No,
Boys.
no.
It's actually his son. Okay.
Yeah. And it's almost a spitting image of Dennis Quaid for the most part. You can tell it's his son. But anyway.
Oh, Homelander's son.
No. The kid that's in The Boys.
Yeah.
Not the kid, like the younger guy that was dating Starlight and all that stuff.
Oh.
That's Dennis Quaid's son.
Oh.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah. If you look at him now, you'll be like, oh, I don't know how I missed it.
Huey.
Yeah, Huey. I think it's Huey.
Yeah.
But he's in this movie,
no idea.
and he has a rare condition where he can't feel pain. So you could do whatever you want, whatever, and his girlfriend gets kidnapped in a bank robbery. All hell breaks loose. You know, it's a perfect movie just to put on and just, you know, sit and just chill out and enjoy like a good hour and a half movie, and that's it. But it was entertaining. My dad will love that movie because he loves stuff like that, action, whatever, crazy. And he does some crazy wild stuff. Like, you gotta watch it just to see how banged up he gets. And then it's funny at the end, his whole body's in like a full cast because he just, by the end of the movie, he's all banged up and everything like that. So that was good too. Then I saw In the Lost Lands. It's with Dave Bautista and, I'm gonna butcher her name, but what is it, Mila Djokovic?
Okay.
Right? I think it was in the movie theaters. I don't know if it came out anywhere. Like, I don't know. It's about like witches and whatever.
Oh, I've seen the commercial.
Yeah, I don't know if it was in the movie theaters. If it was, it wasn't on there long.
Yeah.
It's not great, but it's an action movie, so like you could just be playing on the phone and watch it and, you know, kill time that way, I guess. I didn't pick a winner for that one.
I see.
What else? I think the last one, as you can see, I have like a nice little list here that I got to get to. These are the ones I still got to watch.
Gotcha.
Actually, I watched this last night, Locked. I forgot to move it over onto the list. That's with Anthony Hopkins and one of the Skarsgård brothers.
Okay.
The Skarsgård brother, I don't remember his name. I think it's the same guy that played It.
Yeah, another one.
Yeah, I don't know his first name. But he gets locked in like a rich person's like SUV. And basically Anthony Hopkins calls him from the car phone, like into the car. And he's basically like, not torturing per se, but he's trying to get him to realize the errors of his ways because he's a car thief and like he's this and he's that and everything like that. So the whole movie like is this guy basically locked in this car.
Like a phone booth type of thing.
Correct. Yeah, very similar to a phone booth. It's funny that you said that. I totally forgot about putting those two together, but good call on that. But yeah, it's very similar, but obviously different touches because then it would be the same movie.
Right.
But it was good. It was entertaining. I watched that last night on the good old Fire Stick.
Maybe a little speed vibe in there too.
Yeah, there's a little bit of racing and whatever, but like the ending's cool. And then I'll leave it at that. If you got nothing to watch, definitely check it out. It's not a bad watch that's another short one too. It's like an hour and a half.
When I said speed, I just meant like a hostage with a vehicle,
Oh yeah, okay, all right, yeah, all right. I thought you meant like the chases and all that stuff.
Right,
yeah,
no,
but no, you're still spot. Either which way, you're spot on because there's a little bit of everything in there. And then the last was the new Final Destination movie.
In the theater lot?
I don't think anymore. I think it was in the theaters a couple months ago because I did remember seeing a preview for that.
Okay.
But I don't think it's in the theaters anymore.
Gotcha.
But the last movie that I saw was Final Destination Bloodlines.
Oh, that's the new one.
Yeah.
How was that?
Besides the Fire Stick skipping on me a lot and like dying out because I had to start it over and over and over again, it was a pretty good movie for like that franchise.
How many are there of those?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I want to say there's like 7 of them or 6 or 7 of them. I know I watched at least the first 3 of them, and then this last one. So I might have missed a couple.
Okay.
Because I heard like the other ones weren't as good, but this one kind of like ties in all the movies, and I don't want to give it away because it's still out in the theaters. But if you have a Fire Stick or a way to rent it or something like that, it's one of the higher rated Final Destination movies. So it was good. It was entertaining, and obviously the deaths are crazy.
Okay.
Like all the other ones, like they just try to find new ways to kill people. So you'll see a lot of that in there.
Gotcha.
And yeah, other than that, that's it. Like I don't know. I got nothing else. You got anything?
Yeah, like I said, I haven't been watching a ton of stuff. I think I actually have to. I don't know what's going on with my Fire Stick. It might be finally crapping out. It's been around since I think it was like either my sister's. Yeah, I think it was her first one. Either her first one or second one.
Whoa.
So like I'm talking about
like 10 years ago.
Yeah, or maybe
more.
Longer.
Right.
So
you need a new one.
I'm surprised that it still works first.
Right.
But every time I go to turn it on, the last couple times I've gone to turn it on, it hasn't come on, and then so I unplugged it in the back and plugged it back in, and I think I got signed out of everything. So I'm like, that's like to me that's like the worst nightmare.
Yeah.
It's like the older I get.
You forget the stuff.
The more challenged I am by passwords.
Yeah, 100%. And then meanwhile, you got people on the computers just stealing it like it's no big deal. You know what I mean? Meanwhile, you can't remember your password for for Amazon. I get it, dude. It happens to me all the time.
And then it's not just that. Then like you gotta go into, Max and Hulu.
Of course. And they're all different. and you know what's the worst thing? That now you got me going on this. Is whenever you whenever you do something from your phone and they recommend a strong password. Did you ever see those passwords? It's like 25 numbers and letters. Right. How am I ever supposed to remember that? Right. And then it's good to do on the phone because it keeps it. Like you could save it on your phone. Right. But let's say you did that for the Amazon. How on hell are you gonna do that on the TV? You're gonna go 25 passwords, and it's all over the place. Like it's not even any words. Right. It's not like it's fireman, 29, 32, 72. It's like this weird jumbled up password, and I'm like, No way. So I totally get your frustrations. I hate when I get signed out on this.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I have a lot of them saved in places that I could just go look it up in, like, your little black book or whatever.
Right.
But yeah, no, that's annoying. What you probably should do is next time Amazon has a sale for the Fire Stick.
Yeah.
I think I got mine. It was like $17.99.
Oh, nice.
It was even normally they I remember on Christmas time it went on sale for $25 because I think normally it's like $35.
Yeah.
But a couple months ago, I don't know whether it was Prime Day or whatever, I don't know what it was, but I saw it on sale for $17.99. I just bought it. So for $18 I had it, and that was it. And then my buddy did what he did with it and gave it to me, and that was it. So I was, But to be fair, like, I don't know what I'm doing with this, and a lot of times, like, a lot of the stuff, the apps still don't work. It's just the way it works. You know what I mean? So sometimes you can get a good movie. Sometimes you're waiting a half an hour to get a good movie.
Yeah, I used to be big into Cody and stuff like that, but now I just don't have the patience.
Yeah, I don't. Like, I got out of the game for a long time because I also, like you, had an old Fire Stick. Now I got this new one, but like once it doesn't work, I shut it off. I go on something else. Like, I don't sit. I used to sit here for 45 minutes trying to find the movie that I wanted.
Links.
And like you really want to watch this one movie, and you're going through each different app just to get that movie, and none of them are working, or every different link. Oh God, what a mess. I can't deal with it either, so I agree with you. But, what are you going to do? Such is life right now.
Just complain about piracy, I guess.
Yeah, no big deal. No big deal. But yeah, that's all I got. What do you got for us? Anything?
That's it for the TV, but film.
Right.
As usual, I have one musical selection. This is an older album. I believe it's 98. We're going to go with Boards of Canada. Music has the right to children. So that's the one pick for this week.
Awesome. Well, that does it here for us today. Everyone, enjoy your week. Hopefully, let's go Knicks, Yankees, and Mets. And we'll be here next week to talk about it. I'll talk to you soon.
Till next time.
That's right. Later, guys.